What's going on, guys? It's Lee Van Dam here, and I'm going to give you some tips today in order to help you outlast the crazy one, Kefka, and make sure that you get both of your summons off so you can get that robe. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, Kefka is really interesting because he's going to use every single element during this fight. So, quite a few things you'll want to do in order to prepare and increase your chances for survival because this fight can really be a crapshoot the longer it goes. So, first things first, you want to make sure that you have someone that can buff your spirit almost all the time because that's going to help with your magic resistance and it's going to also help with your healing. So, that's going to be very important throughout this fight, especially the longer it goes. Secondly, elemental resistance is going to be key. Some great units for elemental resistance are going to be Marie. It's going to be Tillith. If you were here for the Brave Frontier banner, she's great for that as well. The other green mages are awesome. Minfilia is good. The only downside to Minfilia is she can only buff one elemental resistance at a time, whereas Marie and Tillith and Cloud of Darkness can actually buff all the elemental resistances. The reason that's so much better in this fight is because the order he uses the elemental attacks is random. So since you don't know what's coming, it's in your best interest to be able to resist all of them better than you have before. Secondly, he has really high defense and he has really high spirit outside of the element that's being reduced by the debuff. Now you're going to see this debuff often. It's going to change every single round because it's going to be based opposite of whatever element he uses on you. So whenever you have the chance, fixed damage from items or skills are going to do a lot of damage in this fight. The reason behind this is because the debuff is going to give him a really huge percentage loss on that element. So when you combine that with fixed damage doing the same damage regardless of defense or spirit, even something like a void vessel, which normally does 2,000 damage, upon the dark debuff, which is my favorite one to use, it deals 118,000 damage per void vessel, and you can have 5 of them. Setzer's fixed dice, if it rolls 55k or 77k, that can be the whole fight right by itself. That can be your one shot. Zahn's Toxic Dagger, it doesn't do nearly as much, but at 1500, it still deals a lot of damage. It deals almost 6 figures whenever it hits versus the correct element. So keep that in mind because anybody can attack with elemental items to deal really good damage whenever the time is right. Uh, the next thing you want to do in this fight is that you want to count the rounds because there are 2 different points where Kefka can unleash an ultimate attack, which is going to deal a lot of damage, and it's going to be either physical or magic damage. And that also makes this fight a little bit more of a crapshoot because you don't know which one is going to necessarily happen all the time. Now, the thing you can plan for, though, is that after every rotation of all 8 elements, he's going to use an ultimate attack. One tell is that on the 8th rotation, he's going to use Puppeter's Wheel to stop one of your party members. And after that, you can almost bet that an ultimate attack is coming. So keep that in mind. Be on the lookout for it. You have 8 rounds, and on the 4th round, he's going to use Osmos. And on the 8th round, he's going to use Puppeteer's Wheel. So that'll help. He'll also use the ultimate attacks at 80% health, 60% health, and he uses the ultimate attacks after 30%. He uses 2 of them. So Typically for me, this fight didn't go that long because once I'm able to get him to half damage, I just use void vessels. I've been around that long, and they can finish the job for me. But last but not least, with the physical attacks, Kefka is 90% resistant to blind. However, if you do get blind to stick, he's not going to cure it like he does every other round with the maniacal laughter. Cures all his debuffs. So blind can definitely save you, especially when it's time for his ultimate attack to come out. So keep that in mind. As far as the layout of the fight, I'll tell you about my group and what I used to take him down. I had 3 healers because my goal was to survive long enough to cast both espers and then drop them with void vessels. Had no intentions of letting the fight drag out any longer than it had to, and I also really didn't want to slug it out and deal with those thresholds. So that's the reason I picked this method. So you got 3 healers. You got Tillith. Tillith's job is just to provide elemental resistance and to cure debuffs, because she has one skill that will give AoE elemental resistance to everybody, and her heal is also an AoE debuff. So perfect. That's great. So she can top everybody off, and she just makes sure defenses are high. Rifia is my second healer. Her and Ishtola were the main workhorses, with Rifia mainly just healing and reviving. And with Rifia, healing, reviving, with Ishtola, healing, reviving if necessary, and casting Protecga and Shelga for extra defense and extra spirit. Now Tillith is able to boost all stats, but since it only lasts for 2 rounds, that's pretty expensive to keep doing that when she already has the job of curing everybody's debuffs and making sure elemental resistance are high as possible all the time. So that's the main reason I broke it down to 3 healers. Works out really well for me in the fight because there are some very close cases where if I only had 2 healers, I wouldn't have made it. Now, Cecil's my tank, and so in this fight, he is just provoking to take as many normal attacks as possible from Kefka each round. Kefka has the ability to attack up to 7 times, so needed Cecil with his high defense to step in, and also with his ability to cover at a high rate to be able to protect party members in case an attack is stray. Now, during the video, you're still going to see me die a lot because Cecil's also going to be the target of Osmos, and so there are times where Provoke's not going to be on him. But all in all, he was a really great unit for that, and the chance to cover is definitely worth it whenever Provoke's not on him. Okay, my other 2 attackers are going to be Dark Fina, and she's there to deal elemental damage whenever the element matches up, and Zon. Now, Zon, Dark Fina, and Cecil, when it is on an off element, their job is just to chain attacks together in order to farm esper orbs. And then, of course, whenever there's an element that Dark Fina can attack, she'll attack it, and then Zon and Cecil will still farm esper orbs. That's really the only thing that you got to do. And so you just watch out for the attacks. Make sure to recover whenever you get hit with an ultimate attack, because they will deal a lot of damage. They will hurt. That's just going to be a fact of life. And you may cry a little bit, but be strong. Be sure to take that next round and recover. And if you need to, have people who are not helping with the recovery, have them defend. So that way, if something goes around the round after that, you'll have them available to use items, and you can fight your way back to getting in this thing. There's a few times during this fight where Kefka kills like 3 or 4 people, but you can slowly work your way back and keep yourself alive in order to make sure everybody else has a fighting chance. So even if something goes south, don't give up, because you may definitely get another chance at it as long as you stick to your plan and you make sure that everybody has good elemental protection coverage, everybody's spirit stays high, and You know, you go out there, you farm those esper orbs, so that way you can get that robe, because that robe is nice, and I definitely believe is worth it. So, what do you think about this, guy? I really like the fight. It took me a few days to figure out what I need to do and which friends I needed to take along with me. Other friends that I think are very good for this fight, Noctis. He's good for every fight, but cover is awesome. He provides elemental coverage on attacks as well as debuffs, and he can also buff the party spirit with his limit burst. Um, if you're going for straight damage, then Orlando plus another Orlando can probably one-shot Kefka whenever his light resistance is low. So definitely keep that in mind, because that could really help you get through the fight. And that's about all I've got. If you have any other tips for me, please let me know down in the comment section below. Definitely appreciate all the help that you can give me. If you like this video, be sure to throw me a like. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do it. What is stopping you? We've got a lot of Brave Exvius coverage. We've got a lot of coverage on Street Fighter and other games on this channel, and I just really love having you around. So just keep us in mind. We appreciate you coming by, and until next time, this is Lee Van Dam. You guys take care. God bless. And I'm going to turn up the fight music while the rest of the fight plays out. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks.